Hey everybody, this is Jim. So you got a new version of JOBZ. Here's a quick intro to getting it up and running. I'll keep this as brief as possible, but there's a few things you need to know. First of all, you're going to need a new version of FileMaker, version 15, which should be installed. And you can launch FileMaker 15, or if we've managed to distribute a shortcut, you should just have to click that shortcut on your desktop and it will get right in. If not, you can always use this method. You launch FileMaker 15 and you look on hosts for a file named getJobs. You can set up this as a favorite host. It'll also show up on recent files after you've launched it. This is the file you're looking for, getJobs, and all you have to do is click open. You've got a new colorful login screen. If everything's working optimally, you'll have your name and password already entered for you, so all you'll have to do is click continue. If not, you can always just enter your name, your full name with space, and your job's password. Then click continue. By the way, please take the user satisfaction survey one of these days. There's a link to it right here. So click continue, and by the way, here's my phone number, here's the support email address, and our website, where you'll find a fair amount of other information, especially on the topics tab. Click continue. There you are. This is your home screen. We used to call it the main menu. It's a dashboard view of your world with all the jobs you've got that you've been working on today, and jobs that are in estimating, and jobs that are pending and working, and your contact activity down below. We'll come back to this, but first I want you to go to the U screen up here, the button that says U, personalize your settings. Make sure you got this right. First thing would be the company name that you primarily represent. That's your default. You can change it on a job-by-job basis, like the other defaults that we're going to check on right here. Office address. You can put your mobile phone number or whatever you want in here. Just don't type more than 5 lines. This is what appears on your letterhead. This field is what appears on envelopes or labels. And you can even use your home address here for some output documents. So check your sales number, your work type, generally commercial, although if you do mostly cartons, folding cartons or corrugated, you can choose that. Again, you can change it as you go. It's very handy. It'll present different specs screens as you go through the specs. But let's say it's commercial for now. FOB point origin is the safest. Your sales region, your sales office, and your plant. Zoom is depending on your screen size. So you might if you have a large screen, you can get away with 200. Smaller screens, 150 or 100. You'll have to restart JOBZ, completely quit, to effect that change. This is real important. It's basically the save folder is where PDFs are stored that JOBZ will make for you in the process of automatically sending emails with attached PDFs. It's basically your hard drive. The name of your hard drive might be C: on a Windows machine, or U: followed by a slash. Depends on your access to which drives. The important thing is that somewhere on that drive, it's going to look for this folder. The name I use is jobs_PDF. What you do is you create a folder there. Let's hide FileMaker and show you what that looks like. Right on the root level of my drive, I have a folder called JOBZ_PDF. So as long as you have a folder with the same name as we show on that save folder field, then your files will be saved automatically according to a scheme. You can always find them later. When it starts off as an RFE, it has a format that starts with the project number and then the job title, the customer name, and the job title. So proposals will be also stored here as you send them automatically. confirmations, invoices, whatever you send out using the automatic feature, this is where you will find them, in that folder that you create by that name, which matches the name here. This is your network login name. This is your email address. You'll want to use System Client, and if you're on Outlook, check the Outlook box. You can also set a BCC address so that anything you send out will automatically be copied to a different address without that showing in the email itself. Also specify your coworkers here. You should get a pop-up list of people such as CSRs and their email addresses here, estimators and their email addresses. These should fill in automatically. If not, just one time here, enter it yourself. Billing department email, in case you want to send email drafts to the billing department, put that address there. Specify your manager from the list that is provided. And if you team sell, you can specify your partner from amongst the other sales reps, and then they will have access to jobs and contacts that you create. You can change your job's password by entering it here and clicking this little colorful icon. And you should have a signature, maybe even a fancy portrait signature. If you like, we can compose a portrait signature for you if you want to, get fancy on things, and we can put that in there for you. This is the default message text. So when you automatically send an email through Jobs, it will put this as the message, and it will use this information here in the signature. It'll be a plain text signature appended to the email that is created. You can also change that signature in your email program to your more colorful logo signature or whatever you like. So get these defaults correct, and you should be all set. Before we leave here, I just want to point out there's a field called Personalized Specs, a screen that you can come to later on. This is where you specify the drop downs that you want to see when you get into the different specs fields. You can put paper brands and size, weights and so forth that you use frequently. You'll start off with the default list, but you can edit this to suit your individual kind of work that you do. And then when you're done with that, you can click Done. All right, so that's pretty much it for this screen. When you're finished here, click Done, and you go to your home screen. So again, the home screen is more of a dashboard than it used to be. You can see that these are actually pull-down buttons, so that you could, for example, take a look at jobs you've modified today or modified this week. You can also simply scroll within the portal individually, right? For example, we got pending jobs. We've got a lot of pending jobs, and they'll show up in this scrolling portal. Or you can pull down pending jobs, and you'll get a list of your pending jobs, which you can then sort by job title or customer or so on. Now there's a new navigation scheme. We've eliminated 1 million colored buttons, and every screen has a go-to, in which case the home screen is usually at the top or near the top. You can navigate from here to a bookmark. You can actually bookmark a place using an action button. You can navigate here to the specs, the quote, the order, the usual screens. Nothing really has changed there. And the output menus you can navigate to, and the address memos and expense screen. If you have manager privileges, this will take you to the management edit screen. We can go home, and we're back to our home screen. You can address memos, jobs, same situation here at the top of the screen with the main components. Keep in mind that there is a help button behind almost every screen that will show you an annotated screen with green callouts. You can go home. So we'll dive into a couple other navigation tricks. This, next to the go-to button, is a list button, and it shows, as according to the little tooltip that pops up there, You're on record number 1 of 19 found records. It's the current job. If you click on it, it'll take you to that list of those 19 found records, where you can navigate from record to record using these little arrow buttons here. You can click this list button again and go back to where you were. So let's dive into, there's organize. Almost every screen has an organize button where you can organize your work. You can find jobs in estimating, jobs that are pending. Here's a list of jobs that are pending, that have the status pending. Go back. You have pending projects, jobs that are in projects that are pending, or your working jobs, or all kinds of things here. So actually play around with these on your own. This pipeline is my favorite. It gives you a view of what your world is like in terms of sales, and it includes working jobs, build jobs, pending jobs that you've given a likelihood to, and it gives you a real nice view of what's coming up. Okay, so let's go back to the home screen. You can always organize yourself, get yourself figured out where you are. Just go home and you say, okay, what do I want to do? Well, almost every screen has a pull down for new as well. And from this button, you can create a new job or a new person in your address database, or a new memo, and so forth. There's also a find button, a blue find button on almost every screen, and you can find a job or a person or a memo there. Let's dive into a job real quick here, like the sheet-fed brochure for database testing. There's a few new things going on here. You choose the company name from the drop-down like normal, and then from that company, choose who's getting the proposal and who's getting the invoice. If they don't have a customer number yet, that'll be a pink field. You can enter that customer number there to make it easy for production to match up to an existing account. These little Rolodex cards, anytime you need to take a look at the information about rich text, you can click that and it'll take you to his card, and then you can go back to that job and take you right back to that job. A couple things about this screen. You'll notice there's a field here that says probably net 30. This is a new, easier way to handle terms. It's based on this particular contact. So whenever I choose the accounts payable contact that works at database testing, it'll pull in their terms. If you haven't set terms for this person, which you probably haven't, it'll have a default of net 30. You can change that now to whatever it is, let's say terms of sale, COD, or net 30 days on approved credit. And now you won't have to ever do that again when you specify this company and this name as the account's contact. All right, so let's give this a skew. All right, now you'll notice there's like coaching text in here that this is a part number field. It'll go away if we just type in a stock keeping unit there. This job, by the way, is in a project named Demo, and this panel over here shows you all the jobs that are in that project, and you can navigate between them. And then when you present a proposal, you can do like a spreadsheet kind of proposal using the project feature. Nobody else sees this other than you. And if you want to change the name of that or bring a project together, you can click Unite, and it'll pull all the jobs together in that project. And then you got this, and you can also click on where it has the project name at the top. It'll take you to a screen that lists those jobs. You can sort them according to whatever number sequence you want, so that when you print the spreadsheet, it has them in the right order. You can take whatever the schedule is for the active record right here and set that as the schedule for all the jobs. So we make all the jobs have the same schedule in the project, nice and easy. And we can go back to home, or we can go to this list button and see a list of those jobs. And we can click into the one we're looking for, and we're looking at the first spec screen. Let's go on to, this is the work type. This is really important. If you want to do cartons, you can choose the cartons work type. Then when you go to screen 2, It has all the stuff about folding cartons or corrugated cartons. You choose your things and click the Set button. We'll go back to screen 1, change it back to commercial. By the way, there's a thing called a campaign, which is for those jobs that have like 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 different line items. There's a whole system for handling that kind of job. Special demo training on that if you want it. What else is going on here? Well, let's see. You can choose the labels that appear to the left side. In this case, I'm using the word details. You could say versions or notes or whatever you want there. You got your quantities as usual. We've now added the plant field here, which is set as a default if you've set that on your personalized screen, on the U screen, and even the press type associated with that plant. These are values that are set up with that plant, so you can do that if you want. What else is going on here? This is where you can appoint a team rep that gives access to this person. This is the schedule. Of course, you choose a day and an interval and click auto, and it will change the dates according to that interval between the various steps. You choose your estimator and your CSR planner, etc. Let's go on to the next screen 2. Similar situation here as it's always been. You got the size drop downs, and again, if you want to get different values appearing in this list, go over here to personalized specs and add whatever sizes or ink colors or proofing combinations you want, and then click back to job. It'll take you right back to that job. Screen 2 again has it has 2 components. Like this job has a cover and a text. If you have more components, there's a tab for that right here. More components, and you get other components. You can see we got this is the field label, this is the paper, this is the ink. We'll go back to this screen right here. Now, this is where you also choose your paper certification if you're using FSC. Couple other things going on here. This is a little preview of what your inks are going to look like. You got your cover and your text, and that's what it's going to look like on the request for estimate and the proposal. Here's a paper note where you can say, various things about the paper for the estimator. We have a new thing here. If I choose, for example, from my drop-down list, 4/4, I can also specify the percentage of coverage. There's a little thing here, the little percent sign. If I click that, I can choose light, medium, heavy, etc., and it will append that to this. So let's do 4/4, and let's choose the percentage, medium coverage, boom. All right. You can also choose paper stocks. This is your drop-down list. You don't always get the drop-down list. Sometimes you'll click the arrow depending on whether you want to see your drop-downs or not. You can just type something in there. You don't have to use your drop-downs. You can also choose the weight of the paper. Let's say 80-pound number 1 gloss cover, and if you click this little gizmo here, this underlined arrow, it will put that in that field right there. So let's move on to the next screen, which is, of course, proofs and what's furnished. You get your drop-downs, your own personalized specs drop-downs. You can check these boxes and then click the gizmo. You've got a new thing here is freight estimate. You might want to have the freight estimated, so you need freight additional to, and then if you just click this little link right here, it'll pick up the zip code and city and state from the contact that you've chosen on the job. Let's move on now to the 4th screen, which is notes and so forth. This is, you can say proposal notes and say something about the proposal that you're sending. Now, a couple other things going on here. You've got your big internal production details where you can copy and paste a huge amount of information. You can see the field is quite large. If you want them to also appear on customer-facing documents, you can click this tab and insert those notes into it. You can also print them out separately using this little print button. New thing that's quite handy is a sketch. So this will get attached to the request for estimate, and you can just click on insert sketch or drag and drop. I'm just going to point to a drawing I've got out. It'll use JPEGs or PDFs and insert that. So now when I do the request for estimate, it'll append that sketch to it. Very handy deal. You can delete it or you can save it out again elsewhere. So that takes care of the basic specs screen and what's changed. By the way, this panel up here shows project here, like I said. It will also show other jobs we've done for that contact. You can also write various memos as the job goes along, and you can just create a new memo using this little new button, and then all the memos you write will be here. There's also a to-do list where you can create little to-dos. So let's go on to the quote screen. Let's see, there might be a few new things here. Yeah, one of them is you can round off or not the digits on your quotation. If you have an odd number and it's important, you can choose 2 digits, and it would say this was had some kind of number so you could choose 2 digits, and it will round that off to 2 digits. And let's see, additional thousands, nothing's changed here. That's your base quote. You can also type a number that you want to match and get that. This is a field kind of put a bump for the house. Unit cost. Okay, so if you check this box here, it'll express it in unit cost, and again, you can add or remove digits from the add decimal places, basically. Here's one new thing. Options, you can have as many as 4 options on every job, and if you check the box, it will add them. But you can also put, for example, paper, and you could say sheets of paper, 23,000 sheets of paper. And it doesn't have to necessarily be dollars in this field. So you could say 23 by 35 paper, 23,000 sheets. So you can put anything you want in here. And if you want them to be formatted as numbers, dollars, you'll have to click this button here. So format currency. So we just formatted those as numbers. So let's just go back to calling this estimated freight, and I got $156 in estimated freight, and I want them all formatted as currency, and I check this, and then your commissions as usual show up. So you notice it says down here in terms of sale that if I go back, if I click on that to change it, it's going to want me to change it here for this contact. I'm good. Let's just go back, and it'll take me back to where I was. You got your press and your plant. You got your normal buttons for setting markups and so forth, or working back from targets. One thing here that's new is the schedule dates won't appear on the proposal unless you check that box. So instead of choosing different proposals, you just check whether you want that included on the proposal. And let's take a look here. Okay, so every screen also, in addition to the go to and the list button and the organize button, almost every screen has an action button where you can pull down to clone or delete or various things. The output is what I want to point out now. So almost every screen, depending on where you are, has a set of output options. The easiest when you're sending a proposal is to choose Email Proposal PDF. It will create a PDF. It'll show you what it's going to look like. There's our schedule, which is included, and so forth. And you just click Continue, and it creates the email and attaches the PDF to the email. And if you have a BCC selected, it would be right there. So the PDF is attached, and if you want, you can choose your own fancy signature or whatnot. Then you just click Send Message. So it has saved that into the PDF folder that you established earlier, and it'll ask you if you want to print a hard copy, but you don't need to because you got the PDF. If you haven't set this into your pipeline as a likely sale, it'll ask you if you'd like to do that. Simply say yes and give it a likelihood of possibility, and it'll generate a pipeline amount for your pipeline. This is based on an average of all the prices you're quoting times your percentage here. So it comes in as a realistic thing. When you go to do the order, there's not much new here. You click on original order date, and it'll put today's date in that field. You can check your scheduled dates. You can then choose the quantity. Now, the slightly different arrangement here. Let's say they ordered the 100,000 quantity. It'll pull in everything that you've got chosen. This is where you can actually put in some additional thing, which this actually comes from this line here, this house or whatever it is. So chances are you wouldn't have anything in there, and therefore nothing would appear there. So there's your price, and if you want, you can throw freight on there and specify whether the freight is taxable anyway. If you want to just turn in the order with these options added to it, because normally, see how the red type says order entry does not include options, because those could be anything. But if you want those to appear on the invoice and have that instruction in advance, this will appear on the sales order to production so that they know that there's going to be these charges eventually on the invoice. Just quickly going through the other screens here. Well, we got, you got to specify who's the customer, and rep on the OK. What are you going to match the color to, and what kind of product is it? Just called this litho print. Production notes. Here's your extensive job details if you want to use them. You can indicate the credit status if you like. It's optional. And then we get into the final screen, which is the shipping and delivery and so forth. So if we specify in advance, or we specify now that they want 100 samples, we can make this real easy. We can say we're going to just ship this whole job plus the samples to the customer, and that would be this button right here. So to the customer, 100 samples plus entire order, boom. And it creates two destinations in our destination list, and you can change these. You could say, well, actually, I want 50,000 to go here, and then create a new one down below and keep adding them up. As you add them up, it will track how many you've ordered versus how many you've destined and show you a difference. It also picks up the ship and due dates on those things, which you can change. For example, you could say, well, I want this to be the 23rd, and I'm going to deliver those samples myself. These are stored with the contact on the delivery tab in that contact. You still have, as usual, you have lots of shipping destinations to choose from. These are the general delivery notes for the entire thing. And then you output a document. In this case, let's email the sales order to production. Boom, there it is. And this, the first page has all this information. The next page has the shipping and delivery destinations, and you click continue, and it creates the email and attaches the PDF to the email. Note that this is also plain text email, which can be copied and pasted, and there's the PDF that's attached, and off it goes. Back to the order screen. Let's see what else has changed. Schedule, still have the schedule screen. If you give the job a job number, you can put in some author's changes. Nothing really has changed there. When you get around to billing the job, slightly different arrangement on the tabs here. Amounts would, you can put in a shipping final billable quantity, and it'll calculate the overs. It'll remember the ACs. If you want to get into calculating your commission, you can fill out this form, choosing your commission basis and rate and so forth. But this is basically just doing a quick invoice draft. And when you go to the invoice draft, it wants a job number, of course. Let's just make something up. This comes from your job number system. I can output a invoice draft. It will remind me that today's not the date that I said it was going to be. And here's my invoice. It'll probably say invoice draft in your case. And there it is with the basic invoicing information. And you output that PDF to anybody that you want, or to the customer, or you can print or PDF the document, right? So go to home. Let's now take a quick look at address. If we have anything new here, well, you got a new sort of the dashboard screen that shows all the people that you have contacts planned for. And note the color scheme here. Red is a date in the past, blue is a date that is today, and black dates are in the future. This is the same scheme that's over here where you've got working jobs that have a ship date. Oop, that slipped into the past, so you ought to take care of that. Go to that job and mark that as shipped and invoice it. And when you produce an invoice draft, it'll automatically change the status out to billed. So back to home screen, back to address. You also have a contacted tab. So these two tabs will show you who you've got coming up to contact and who you've recently contacted. And you have a list button, same as in jobs, and you have the organize, and you have the new, and you have the find, and so forth. Keep in mind the memos database is very powerful. Create all kinds of jobs linked, all kinds of correspondence linked both to people and to jobs. Let's just look at Rich here. On our jobs tab, we can see all the jobs that we've done for him listed alphabetically or by date. Any memos that we've written to him, you can write a new memo to him just by clicking this button. It'll create a new memo in the memos database, and it'll be therefore linked to this contact. And you got the usual setting of contact activity. By the way, when you use that automatic sending PDF by email, it will track that activity for you automatically here. So in the contact history, you can see that. Segments, you can check the segments. You can do all kinds of things there. Ownership, this is kind of cool. You can give this a contact away to somebody else. If you want to reassign this contact, you're done with it, you want it to show up in somebody else's database, just choose a name from that list and then click the reassign button, and it'll take care of that for you. You will lose it, and it then belongs to the other guy. Here's our tab panel for navigating between other people that work at this company. We're back at rich text. And I think that kind of takes care of most of the new things. Again, actions. You might want to do something at this point, or output. This will take you directly to the output menu where you can print lists of contacts and labels and directories and all that kind of stuff. Again, a go-to button, go to home, and you're back at the home screen. So that takes care of most of what's new. I hope I wasn't going too fast for you. I hope you enjoy the new version of JOBZ. I hope it runs nice and quick with the new server and the latest software. And I hope you sell lots of printing. So get to it. Thank you very much. And don't forget, you can always call for help. We don't charge for that. And here's my phone number. There's the support email address. You can also go to carpedata.com. And remember to click the help buttons when you see them, so you don't have to make a phone call. So that's it. Over and out. See you later.